every time we think about our income as being relational to what's happening in the market, we're instantly giving away our power. When I'm at the end of my life and I look at what I've achieved, what I've created, what I've done inside my business, I don't want to be thinking, you know what, you really held yourself back in 2026 because there was a collective narrative that you couldn't succeed more or do better because of things that were happening in the market. That is just not how I ever want to run my business. In fact, what I see is that there are always going to be reasons to go for it in your business, and there's always going to be reasons for you to hold back. There's always going to be reasons for you to stop yourself because somebody said that the market wasn't right. Somebody said that your ideal client's not buying right now. Somebody said that for whatever reason, your product or service is not it. Now, this isn't to say that I'm ever ignorant to what my ideal client wants or needs. I'm fueled by my ideal client, what you need, what you want, how I can serve you best. That is my reason for being in business. Hello, I am Ellie Swift. Welcome to the Scalable Freedom Show. I'm so excited to be here with you. So today I really wanted to record an episode with you to talk about the 3 money beliefs that have supported me to generate 100K plus months inside my business. I try and do a money episode every 3 to 6 months, and these are conversations that I've been having across the board at the moment. This episode was fueled by the recent Australian budget that came out. So for context, for those of you who are my Northern Hemisphere listeners, we had a big budget change, which brought a lot of things into play for Australian small businesses. There's been a lot of conversation around what it means for tax in Australia as a business owner. And of course, when that happens, it brings to light a whole lot of money conversations. So this episode is timely around that. It's of course not Australia specific. I'm not actually going to reference the budget specifically, which I'll get into in a moment as to why that is. But again, it's more that universal money conversation. I want to share the way I think about money, the way I think about small business, and the things that have really supported me that really help when things like budget conversations happen, market shift, things change, economy feels tighter or harder or whatever else. So you with me? Let's talk about those 3 things specifically. And if you hang around to the end, speaking of money, I'm going to share an epic free resource with you, which is the first step I use with clients when we're talking about how you can generate more money inside your business month on month. All right, let's talk first belief. My income is set by my beliefs, not by the market. So I alluded to this a little bit in my intro, but the first thing that I really want to share is that honestly, I think that every time we think about our income as being relational to what's happening in the market, we're instantly giving away our power. I think about this in the most existential way possible, in that when I'm at the end of my life and I look at what I've achieved, what I've created, what I've done inside my business, I don't want to be thinking or telling myself, you know what, you really held yourself back in 2026 because there was a collective narrative that you couldn't make more or succeed more or do better because of things that were happening in the market. Like, I don't know about you, but that is just not how I ever want to run my business. And in fact, what I see is that there are always going to be reasons to go for it in your business, and there's always going to be reasons for you to hold back. There's always going to be reasons for you to stop yourself because somebody said that the market wasn't right. Somebody said that your ideal client's not buying right now. Somebody said that for whatever reason, your product or service is not it. Now, this isn't to say that I'm ever ignorant to what my ideal client wants or needs. I am deeply tapped into that at all times. I'm fueled by my ideal client, what you need, what you want, how I can serve you best. Like, that is my reason for being in business. And because of that, I'm so tapped in and connected to exactly what I need to do next to be best of service to you. And so you can hear that I'm so intrinsically motivated by that, that for me, any outside market factors, it's just noise. Like, all of that is just noise. And what I see is that when we get too brought into that, when we're too tapped into those stories of why we can't, that is when our business suffers. There's a term or an ideology that says that recessions are usually caused by the fear of the impending recession. And so what I see is that the most uncertainty occurs before a recession actually hits. That's when people pull back. That's when there's fear, which in turn actually causes that recession. And so what that means and what that looks like for us in business is that the more that we believe we can't do the thing because of markets, because of, whatever economic situation is occurring, the more we're going to hold ourselves back in business, and the more we're actually going to in turn create that belief that, no, I can't do the thing. It's like it starts internally. So if there's anything that you take from this, what I want you to know and hear is that I have so much radical responsibility and belief that I can do the things in any market. Does that mean it's always going to be easy? Absolutely not. Does that mean that I will do whatever it takes to scale, to make the money I want to make, to grow in any market at any time? Absolutely. And it's so freeing to have that belief, because what it means is that I can come back to me in any moment and know I can do this, I can create this, I can go after this. Like it just sets me free to have that feeling of no matter what is happening externally, no matter what is happening macroeconomically, I can always center back and I can always decide that I am actively going to go after more. Even just saying that out loud feels so freeing, right? I hope you can feel that too. I hope that there's an opportunity for you to really tap into that as well, and know that no matter what stories you're hearing collectively right now, that is not true for you. That doesn't need to be your internal algorithm. Okay, so the second belief that I deeply want you to hear for so many is I believe that there is so much money in the world, so of course it is an unlimited resource for me. And as I say that, I want you to just sit with like what comes up in your body as you hear me speak to that. Because I know that for many of us, it can bring about a little bit of friction. It can make us feel certain things. Maybe there's like a greed story that's coming up, or but why should I have more money? Who am I to do that? What about others? Like just sitting for a moment with whatever that brings up for you. Here is why I have no problem accessing that belief. I believe that more money in the hands of women doing incredible work in the world is going to change the course of history. Like, I believe that to my core. More money in the hands of women doing incredible things in the world is what this world needs so deeply. And like, without getting into politics and making this a big leadership conversation, like, look at what we're seeing collectively right now. Look at the challenges that we're seeing from money being in the hands of so many of the wrong people, and think about what it would look like if more money was in the hands of the women leaders that you follow and love and trust. The research backs this up. So we know that when more money is in the hands of women, it is fed more into their communities. It is filtered into other women-led businesses. It goes into the types of change that we want to see in the world collectively. I know that for me, the more money I have, the better I can pay my women-led team, the more I'm able to, share it and funnel it into the things that I care about. So by having that belief, there's no friction for me around how much money I can hold. Now, when you believe something like that to your core, that's going to support you to grow the type of business that you want to grow. And it's really interesting if you don't actually believe that you are capable of, have the ability to, and are allowed to hold more money in your business. It's going to pepper and weave itself into all these little crevices inside your business, which will slow you down, sometimes really unconsciously. So an example of that might be that, you say you want to hold 50 people inside your mastermind. You want to have these 100K plus months inside your business. But if you actually feel friction or fear, or you contract at the idea of being somebody who can hold 100K months, your actual reality of who you're being isn't going to match what it is that you say you want. And so I want you to play with what's the gap there between what it is you say you want and that friction that you're feeling. So if I just rewind a little bit, because obviously speaking to these beliefs like this has not always been true for me. I've really had to realign my beliefs at every stage because I didn't come from money. I don't have family that, comes from money. There is so much of this that I had to learn as I went. And what I committed to doing was just allowing myself to go, well, yes, this is amazing. Yes, I'm so happy to be in this position. And what does it look like for it to get even better? And what does it look like for it to get even better? I'm so grateful for my current reality. I accept it. I'm grateful for it. And what does it look like for it to get even better and for me to hold more? And the more consistently I kept repeating that narrative and allowing myself to hold more, anchor into it, be so grateful, more and more and more gratitude around the thing, the more it compounded. And so again, this is a process of like consistently coming back to who you are when you're holding the money that you're holding, what you believe around money, knowing that you get to hold more, and also your beliefs need to align with holding more in every single season of your business, whether it's 10K months, 50K months, whatever it looks like for you. All right, so the third belief that I want to share with you is that scarcity is a story and abundance is a choice. Scarcity is a story and abundance is a choice. Now, to talk a little bit more about my story, I've shared this in podcast episodes previously, but for me, growing up, I grew up in a family with two very loving parents, but I witnessed stories about money constantly, like the stories that so many of us, particularly as millennial women, have heard a million times over. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money's really hard to get. You've got to work hard for your money. Like those real stories around ongoing scarcity when it comes to money and it just being something that was really hard to get and come by, and that you had to work harder and you had to do more and it was never enough. And so I watched that and I saw my parents go through a process of being incredible small business owners and working incredibly hard, and also that feeling like it was just never quite enough. And I knew for myself that I really wanted to break free from that story because I've watched people earn and grow their wealth over time, and you see these people live a reality where they still don't necessarily believe that they've got enough, even if you or I go, what? You've got millions in the bank? Like, are you kidding me? How do you not think that that is enough? And so ultimately, you're never going to have enough if you're still in a mindset of scarcity. And I knew that for me to be somebody who believed in abundance, to believe that I could have more than enough, it actively meant that I had to decide that I was somebody who was going to be living in abundance and deciding that I was living in abundance, whatever the stage or season of my business was. So from the start of my business, I decided to live from a place of believing that I was always in overflow, even if it felt like I wasn't. So what that actively actually looks like is just looking at everything around you inside your business and your life right now and deciding that you are already in overflow, like acting completely as is. So if you think about what you have right now in your life and your business, what are you incredibly, incredibly grateful for right now? It might be that you have loving family, loving friends, like even just having a roof over your head, the fact that you have access to listen to this podcast. Like think about all the things that you are so, so grateful for. Maybe there's a version of you 10 years ago that never ever knew that this could be your reality right now. When you show up from that place and you anchor into that feeling of deep abundance, it changes everything about the way that you're then able to build on top of that, because you're already in that foundation of safety. So when you act as though you are already abundant, when you believe that fully, when you trust from that place, that then allows you to make more from a place of overflow, like being able to hold more at all times. So if you're, let's just like say, for example, when I was earning like 10K months in my business, I already felt like I was the richest person in the world. So a really good example of this, when I launched my first online course, for those of you that have been around for a long time, you'll know it was Shine on Social Without Selling Your Soul. I think I launched it like 9 years ago. I made $9,990 from that first course launch. And honestly, there is no other money that has felt as good as that $9,990. I felt like the wealthiest person alive. I remember thinking, if I can make this amount of money from a course launch, what else can I do? Like, everything is limitless. Like, I can just do this over and over and over again. Like, there is so much possibility for me here. Now, I've worked with clients before where they've done similar first launches and they just think that that money is nothing. I could have done so much more. I could have done so much better. Wasn't even a 5-figure launch. So you can hear the difference between somebody looking at it through the lens of scarcity versus somebody looking at it through the lens of abundance. And I can tell you right now that every time I work with those clients who believe that every single client, every single dollar is huge and amazing and deserves to be celebrated, they're the ones that go on to have massive success. Because you're anchored into that belief of abundance. You're anchored into that belief of possibility. It starts with the one client. It starts with the next 10,000 and the next 10,000 and the next 10,000. So wherever you're sitting right now, whatever season of business you're in, I would really encourage you to start by looking around you at all the abundance that currently exists inside your life and business, knowing that from that, fertile ground that you have in front of you right now, that is the thing that is going to help you to grow and make more. If you look at what you have right now and you just feel scarcity and lack, that's the thing that's going to stop you from going to your next level. All right. I really hope that in hearing this episode, you felt somewhat inspired, motivated, like you've got that opportunity to really disconnect from any collective noise or narrative that's around you and re-anchor back to what you truly want to create in your business, and know that in any season, in any economy, in any time, it is absolutely available to you and for you. But the most important thing we need to do is really zone out the noise and come back to our center, come back to what it is that we want, trust that we are enough, trust that we've got this, trust that we can absolutely go after the next thing that is for us. Now, if you are in a season of scaling your business and you're wanting to look at exactly how you're going to do that and really run those numbers. Obviously, this is a money conversation. Let's talk about running those numbers inside your business. I've got an incredible tool for you. So I've created something that is a very simple tool. That's the first step I use with clients when we're scaling our group programs or masterminds. You can type in the exact price point, the exact number of clients to generate the exact number of revenue that you need to hit your income goals for this year. And it's really easy to go in and play with those numbers to work out the exact program or offer that is right for you and your business. When you know those numbers and you have exact clarity on what you're going after, that's the thing that's going to help you then set out the roadmap to achieve that exact monetary outcome. There's no way that we can build and scale our revenue without first being crystal clear on what the monthly recurring revenue actually looks like inside our business. This tool is a fast track way that's going to help you do that. Just jump on over to ellieswift.com/revenue. We will link it here in the show notes for you. Till next time, have the best day ahead.